Hey everybody, it's JR and welcome to the Artistry of Money. Welcome. I'm so glad you're joining us for another episode. Again, I am so blessed to be joined by two of my favorite peeps in the whole wide world, Karen Michaels and Todd Vigiletti. Say hi, everybody.
Hi. Hey, everybody.
Thanks for joining me today. Today, we want to follow up on our last episode. We touched on just how emotional investing can be, right? Greed and fear. And I think it's important that we go a little deeper into this topic because controlling your emotions is such an important part of being able to optimize your returns in the market. And so many people don't do a very good job at that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to be very honest with you, Jim, it reminds me of a conversation we had so many years ago. When we were considering buying this house, and of course, when I was telling you about it, it was all, it's super pretty and it's on a corner and something.
And there's a rainbow there's a unicorn and rainbows in the swimming pool.
There's a unicorn and a rainbow. And anyway, and you were like, great. I just want to caution you to think about taking out the emotion of it. And, you know, I mean, I loved my house when I was a kid. And so I wanted to make sure I had that feeling again, you know,
Right.
But I really did that. Like I looked at, you know, the school ratings and I looked at, you know, what kind of persons lived here, professionals, and was it a mixed diversity neighborhood? And I like trying to tick all my boxes that I thought was important as a human to live in, and then important financially, important how was our zip code doing, our potential zip code at the time. And it really solidified for us. It was like, wow, we are emotionally invested in the beauty of this home, but then we like the way it felt and the stuff. But we looked at those, what I would call the non-emotional, not as much fun to think about stuff. and then now here we are, you know, we're so happy that we're here and so grateful. And so anyway, I guess the point is, my friend, that I really took that to heart, and now I want to remember to apply that again as I'm trying to.
Yeah. I actually love that story, Karen, because it's exactly the same as investing in the stock market. I mean, you can fall in love with the product. You know, you fall in love with Tesla automobiles, which so many people just love those cars.
Right.
But it's very different from investing in the company, right? Because you have to look at the company and say, are they making money? Are they losing money? Are they growing? And as they grow, are they becoming more profitable or less profitable? So you have to realize that investing is completely unemotional. We talked about this is what analysts do. What is the core value of a company?
Right.
And the answer to, in other words, why would you buy a share of Tesla or buy a share of Apple, which, by the way, I'm not recommending either one of those companies. Why would you buy a share of a company, any company at all? And one answer could be rainbows and unicorns. Like, I love my Apple computer and I love my Apple Watch and I'm buying the company. That's great. I love my Apple products too, Karen Marie, so thank you. But that's not the way you invest in a company, and that's not what you're buying. What you're buying technically, when it comes down to where the rubber meets the road, is all of the future cash flows, the profit flows that company is producing in the years ahead. You are discounting all of that profit to today, and you're saying the company is worth X. And so that makes it worth, you know, like it's just had a 15% discount over the last few days. It is a really good buy, in my opinion, because it's all non-emotional. It's all analytical. It's all math. It's all numbers. And so, so that's what that's really what drives the stock market. It's dollars and cents. And it's all numbers.
Wow. So would you say then, and I know we've talked in previous discussions about, you know, the ETFs and how that's a great way to get started. But it sounds to me like you're saying, I guess the school of thought is it's not about what you like. Investing in the market is literally about making money and helping to give you revenue for whether it's future, for its retirement, whether it's for your kids, whatever it is, and taking the, I don't want to say taking the fun out of it, but it kind of is taking the fun out of it, depending, right? Because I think I remember maybe reading and thinking when the kids were young, like, oh, buy Disney stock. And Disney, you know, they used to give you a cool certificate, and you know, you got to get something tangible, and I'm sure you paid extra for that, and they made money on that too. But nonetheless, you know, to get them interested, which also kind of got me interested. In my first forays into investing was like, oh, I like that, or I like Big Macs. How about McDonald's, or whatever the case may be? You know what I mean? And that was really the motivator. Had nothing to do. They're a big company. They must be good. But big companies do not necessarily mean good, and they also don't necessarily mean profitable either, especially from an investment standpoint. So,
But
yeah,
so this is
further thoughts on that.
Yeah.
Like,
So that's a great conversation, Todd. So I think that, first of all, I don't want to discourage anybody from investing based on products that they love and they know, because that is a good place to start, especially if you're a beginning investor. If it gets you, like you're saying, when you first started, you were interested in Disney because of Paige maybe, but the reason, you know, you want to be interested, but you have to learn about the company. You can't just say, and the problem is it's the future. What's the company doing now? And what could threaten the company in the future? And sometimes you don't know that because you're so in love with the products now, and you don't see the competition coming, or you don't see how quickly technology is changing, and this other company is going to take the lead and your company is going to sink because it's sticking to the old technology. There's so many things that can derail a company. And so falling in love with a product and investing because of that is just not the smartest way to do it. However, falling in love with a company product and then starting to do your homework and learning about the company and how profitable they are and what the future looks like and what they think the future looks like, and do you believe that, and what do analysts think about the company, that's a great way to make investments. So starting with that love of a company's product is a good place to start investing. Let me just also point out about the ETF. Either we have recommended in the past, and I continue to recommend two. One is the SPY, which is the S&P 500 ETF. And the other is the ticker symbol QQQ, which is the NASDAQ 100. If you invest, as I recommended, a certain amount of money in each of these ETFs over time, every month or every quarter, if you think about what I just said about you're investing in companies, you're investing in the greatest minds that the world have to offer, and all of the innovation and technological changes and everything that these minds are working on for the future. You're invested in that if you invest in these two ETFs. So you're not just invested in Disney or Apple, which may be great companies to own, but you're actually invested, the way I look at it is, you're invested in the endeavors of humanity for the future. And I just love that. I mean, I think that's a great way to think about investing in these ETFs. Does that make sense?
I love that.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's great.
Oh, that's cool. I'll tell you what my, and I know we need to, we've talked for quite a while here. And so I know that we need to wrap up, but I want to ask a tangible, if you will, question. And that is, so how do I go buy this? What do I need to do? And if I have $100, $1,000, 50,000 and 100,000, because I know, for example, you know, like the company that you advise for, if that's the right word, and please correct me, JR, you know, they have a minimum. So I think we should mention them, and then mention maybe the smaller ways that those of us who are just getting into this can actually make this purchase. How do I do it?
Thank you for asking that question. The firm that I represent is called Robert Bender and Associates, and we can leave a link in for anybody. Generally, we have $100,000 minimum for managing assets for someone. And you can talk to me, you can leave a question for me, and I'd love to help you if you have $100,000 in investable assets that you'd like some help with. So for someone who's starting with a lot less money, like $100 or something like that, You can buy, we were saying you can buy partial shares of things. You can buy partial shares of stocks. You cannot buy partial shares of these indexes.
Okay.
Like SPY or QQQ, you can't buy a partial share. You can't buy like $50 worth of it. So the index has a certain price, and I think we were talking about it a few minutes ago. If it's $350 for one share of QQQ, I'm just making that number up off the top of my head. I think it's somewhere around there. If it's $350 a share, you need to put $350 in minimally and buy one share of QQQ.
And where do I do that? Is there a QQQ store that I can like pick up to my...
There are a number of QQQ stores and SPY stores, and they're called brokerages. So you have heard the names of these before. Charles Schwab is one of them.
Okay, great.
And TD Ameritrade and E-Trade and Vanguard and Fidelity. You can open an account up, and most of these places have no minimum. You can literally take $50 and open something. And buy something. And also, I want to say that there are some of these online brokerages like Robinhood that have been in the news a lot lately. And you can do the same thing. You can open it on your phone and put $50 in and buy partial shares of a company. And there are others besides Robinhood, but that's just one that pops into my head. But it's very easy to buy. There are lots of stores online. Everybody's online, and a lot of them have brick and mortar stores that you can walk into and talk to somebody also.
Very cool.
If I could just add from experience, because initially I did not realize that you couldn't purchase partial. I
didn't know.
Partial shares of the ETFs. But what happens is, though, I would just say don't let that discourage you, because you can still set up in those online sources, whatever it is, like you said, JR, maybe $100 a month, and it goes into like a little, I'll call it a little savings account. That's not really the right term for it, but you have an account with them. And then once you hit the amount of money that it takes to purchase that full share of stock, then you make that purchase online. So you're still saving. It earns a very small amount of interest, at least the one that I have. So at least it's going away. It's getting out of your Mad Money account. You know, so you're not buying another toy or something like that, or just eating out or whatever it is. But so it's still getting out of your daily account, moving into that account, being saved, put aside, and then you make the purchase, which has worked well for me so far.
And I love that we're bringing this back around, because I want to bring this back to something we talked about in earlier episodes, which is focusing on building a golden army. By doing $100 a month or $1,000 a month or whatever you decide that you want to do, this is the beginning of being aware and having the intent of building something strong for the future that I like to call a golden army. So I think that sort of brings it full circle, that for those of you who are starting, this is really powerful. This small amount of money can grow over, hopefully decades, can grow into a very, very substantial amount of money that can give you and your family security and a nice lifestyle in retirement.
Yeah, for sure.
Excellent. Wonderful.
Great. Well, I think, I hate to say it, but according to I won't say what brand of phone I have, but a very popular phone, the timer tells us that we're just about out of time.
It's an iPhone, Todd. We all have iPhones.
All right, it is. It's okay.
I want to thank everybody for joining us, and hope you enjoyed this episode. Please remember to like the episode and hit the subscribe button if you like the content. And most of all, please share this video with somebody else who you think might benefit from the content. Do you have any final words, Karen or Todd, that you'd like to say?
I'm going to try and continue to, I'm going to really work on loving math and numbers and data, and trying to find the emotion in that so that I'm more attracted to it. That's my goal.
There you go. Make numbers fun. That's what she wants.
Make numbers fun.
Yeah, maybe look at Elmo. He might be able to help you.
Right. I think you're right. Or the count. I mean, you can't forget the count.
Oh, the count. Love the count.
Hello.
Yeah, we got to go with the count on that.
Got to go with the count.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.